Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daily Bern. Come on in, this is the war room of the political revolution. What this is a daily motivational show for all of us who are out there each day fighting in this political revolution in order to change our government into one that works for the people. Please like and share and comment. Any interaction in the show helps the video do better and get out to more viewers. And I love hearing from you. I love reading your comments, and I want this to be an ongoing discussion. So please take part in the show. Thanks for coming back to the Daily Bern. I'm your host, Sean Yankee, and today I wanted to begin by pointing out the fact that the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones that do. And I'm proud to be crazy. I own that shit. I have big dreams. I want to live a big life. My goals are set high. Most of them I'll never reach, but I set them high because I want them to be slightly out of my reach. That's what keeps me pushing forward. I always want to do more, do a little better. I guess that's what made me think I could do this show and help inspire a few people along the way in our revolution. And I hope you're digging it because I'm going to keep right on going. This show helps me, so I figure it must help someone else too. And this message is important. Not just Bernie's message, which is extremely important. It's very important that we get that out there. And I try to do that as much as I can on this show. But the message that we deserve better, and the message that we can get it. No one wants to talk about that. A lot of people, a lot of independent media will go on and on and on about how we deserve these things. They'll even report on how they're common around the world, how we're the only country that doesn't guarantee health care to its citizens, for example. One of the only countries not to have a minimum wage at around $15 an hour, to guarantee a living wage to working people. One of the only ones to not do that. We're dead last in a lot of categories. They don't focus on that. They don't tell you that. But these people, these independent media, though, the mainstream media doesn't tell you that. The independent media does, but they don't tell you how to fight back. They don't tell you what to do. You want to tell me how bad it is, how rigged it is. Okay, I understand. We got a lot stacked against us. But what now? They leave it off there. They don't tell you, okay, well, what you're going to have to do to stop this, to fix it, to change direction is to unite by the millions. You're going to have to come together. You're going to have to own this, and that's why I love Bernie Sanders so much, why I am so behind this movement, because he is preaching what you really have to do. This is how change takes place. This is how change has always taken place. And the rest of these people are running for president. Bernie is organizing a movement. He's doing something very different than what they're doing and very different from anything we've ever seen anybody do before. This is spectacular what is happening. This is monumental. And there is no way that I'm going to let this chance at improving our lives pass us by. We won't get another chance like this. So we have to do all we can to maximize on this opportunity that we're being handed. We're being given a second chance. They beat us in 2016. They did. And they're going to try to beat us again. They'll fight us as hard as they can. They will, and they'll try to break your spirit in every way they possibly can, and they'll pull everything they can to try and win. We stay vigilant, we stay united, we keep our demands out there, they'll lose. They will. They will lose. We will win. That is a fact. The only way that we lose is if we back down. And we have to understand that we can't do that. We're not here to negotiate. We're not here to ask nicely. We're here to take this. That's what we're going to have to do. We have to realize that we have to take this. We have to go in there into the halls of power, overwhelm them with our numbers, overwhelm their rigged system, stay united. That's key. And we'll win. We just have to hold our ground, and we have to do all that we can. Do all that you can. If you believe in this fight and you want to see us win, do all that you can. Now, I include a link in the description of every Daily Bern to BernieSanders.com. Please go there and see if there's any way that you can help the campaign by maybe volunteering. There's almost 3 million people volunteering at this point. We're real close to 3 million. That's unheard of. Become one of us and help us get Bernie elected. Help us get the message out and the word out, or donate any amount. That all helps. We are completely publicly funded. We bought ourselves a politician, so we have to chip in. We are up against big, big money, and they're going to fight us as hard as they can. I don't know if you've been seeing it, but they're already running propaganda videos on TV about Medicare for All, trying to scare people. So we got a lot of work to do. We got to inform people. Bernie can't do it all himself. We have to inform people. Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors. Do all that. Do all that you can. We can win this. We just have to do all that we can. And we can do anything, but not everything. Remember that you are only one part of a giant movement. This isn't all on your shoulders. Just focus on yourself and do all that you can do. If you're doing that, you're doing what needs to happen, what drives us forward. This fight that we're in is strange, and we've never been taught how to participate in it. Sadly, we're never taught how to participate in a democracy. You don't have a class in school where they teach you about voting and about, how to read a bill, for example, or how to contact your congressman, how to, write a senator, things like that. They need to tell people those kind of things. They don't. They don't want you to know, if voting didn't work. I hear a lot about, and I'm going to be debating someone, well, not debating, he doesn't want to call it a debate. But tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time, I will be having a conversation with Gerard K. And I'm messing his name up. I think the last name is Hay. Let me go down in my notes a little further. Yes, Gerard Kenyette Hay. I don't know if I'm saying the middle name right, but I am doing my best. He has a pretty large following. He is one of the people that I talk about a lot. I don't ever say his name because I'm not like that, but he preaches non-voting, and also claims that if you do vote, you are responsible for the evil in the world and the evil in the system. You are condoning it, consenting to it by voting. And I will be having a conversation with him tonight live on Facebook. So check that out and stop by for that, because I'm going to be completely outnumbered. He has a much larger following than me. So I am going into the lion's den. But someone needs to be there telling these people that this is not the way to go. I understand the moral conviction. I get it. I get it. I don't want to participate in this rigged system. You probably feel a lot like I felt in 2016 when I watched the primary get rigged and realized it was going to stand, that we weren't going to do anything about it, that they were going to get away with it. I was ready to give up. I threw my Bernie sign in the closet, all my Bernie gear in the closet, and it stayed there for like 6 months. And I was pissed, beyond pissed, and just, lost all hope. But like I said, we've been giving a second chance here. We have a second chance. This is unheard of. I am not going to let this pass me by. We fell short last time. We don't want to be honest with ourselves, but we fell short. And the point I was trying to get at, and I'm all over the place because I'm not on script right now, but the point I was trying to get at is, if voting didn't work, they wouldn't care if you did it. They would teach you about it. They would want you to do it. It wouldn't matter. But voting does work, so they don't want you to. And they gerrymander and they try to make it hard and they minimize polling places and all of that because they don't want you to be able to vote. They don't want to make it easy. Otherwise, it would be a national holiday. You know what I mean? They want it to be difficult, because it works. And it only works if we unite and we inform ourselves. So the more people that we can get to do that, mostly the latter, inform themselves. Because, as far as Gerard, in his opinion on voters, I get it when you're talking about an uninformed voter, someone that just goes in the booth and votes Democrat or just goes in the booth and votes Republican and doesn't know anything about any of the issues and doesn't follow any of the candidates or hold anybody accountable. That kind of voting is dangerous. And it really is kind of consent, because if you vote like that, you're saying, okay, I don't want to handle these issues and I don't want to think about it. I I choose Team Blue. You guys handle that for me. I'll pull my lever every so often, every time there's an election, and you guys just handle my decisions for me. I got other things to think about, and I get that. You got a lot of problems. We all have our own real lives going on, and there's tons of things in your own personal life, enough to keep you busy. So thinking about the big picture, thinking about the big, what's going on in the world, that can be overwhelming. So these people have decided that they just let somebody else do their thinking for them and trust them. They've picked either Team Blue or Team Red, and that's where they put their faith. That kind of voting is dangerous. That's not the way you're supposed to vote. They might as well not be voting. But if you're voting and you're voting in an informed way, I don't see how you could possibly be consenting to the evil in the world when you are trying to do your best to use the system that exists to change it. It's the system that controls you. Whether you participate in it or not, it has power over you. So it is the existing system. You can't just refuse to play the game. The game goes on without you. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to try to make that point tonight in our conversation. But I just want to stress that we do all we can and we win. We just do. That's just a fact. This is the way this works. If you have any doubts, look back throughout history. Look at how women got the right to vote. Look at how the civil rights movement went down. Look at how the Vietnam War was brought to an end. Look at how things happened throughout history and what made them happen. And it was always millions of people coming together, standing united and demanding it. Always. It's the way it happens. And they fight it every time. And it's always impossible until it happens. So we can win this. Keep that attitude. We are winning. Right now, we're crushing it. We've raised over $30 million at an average of $18 a piece. We have 3 million volunteers working for our candidate to get him elected. No one has that. We're the front runners. They're finally even having to admit it. And their paper front runner is falling apart. He's imploding. And they're going to watch. I'm predicting this. They're going to pull their support from Biden and put it on Warren. That's where it seems to be going. I really thought it was going to be Harris, but I think Tulsi finished her off, which cost Tulsi her spot on the debate stage. But I think Tulsi finished Kamala off. I think the establishment has lost faith in her. They're trying to get us to take the compromise of Elizabeth Warren. Well, Elizabeth Warren is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and we're fully aware of that. So do not back down. Don't waver. Don't settle. Don't negotiate. We're going to win. We don't need to do any of those things. Because we're going to win this. Not Bernie. Us. This is our fight, and we're going to win it. We're going to do what needs to happen. And we're going to win. But thanks again for coming. And if you shared, thank you so much. That helps out more than you know. And this message needs to spread and get out there. So thank you. Even though I'm all over the place, we need somebody out there telling people we can win this. We can do this. We're doing it. Stay on this path. This is the right path. And we need people saying that. So real quick, let's head over to the newsroom. I picked out a few news stories to go over with you guys, so let's go check those out. So as you know, for the news on this show now, we only use the Bern Notice. The Bern Notice is the Bernie Sanders newsletter where they take all the media, all the news that's out there in the media, the stories that are buried at the bottom of the pages, the stories that we want to see, the stories about Bernie, and they feature them in their newsletter called the Bern Notice. And they also have original pieces, like this piece I'm going to look at right now. This is the Bern Notice, the contrast between Biden and Bernie. Because Joe Biden says that the details are irrelevant in the differences between him and Bernie. But the Bernie campaign doesn't seem to think so. So here are the ones they want to focus on. So Iraq. When the Senate debated the details of the Bush administration's misleading case for invading Iraq, Biden joined the Republicans to fight to authorize that war, while Bernie studied the details and fought against it. NAFTA. Biden joined the Republicans again and the corporate lobbyists to pass the deal, while Bernie studied the same details and his judgment led him to oppose the deal. We can go on and on. Bankruptcy, Social Security. Joe Biden has tried to cut Social Security multiple times. Climate change, healthcare. We know that he doesn't even have a healthcare plan. He just wants to defend Obamacare. The differences definitely matter. But this is from Sirota, from the campaign. That they have original pieces in here. This is another original piece, but they also have from the mainstream media. Like this is from Politico. Says Dems more likely to support candidate who backs Medicare for all over fixing Obamacare. You know, and that's the people. The people are more likely. A new Politico Morning Consult poll finds that 65% of Democratic primary voters would be more likely to support a candidate who supports single-payer health care like Medicare for all over fixing Obamacare. 65%. You know, they need to listen to their base. They don't want to. They're going to go kicking and screaming, but they're going to have to. They need to accept that the people want these changes. The last thing I wanted to look at in the news today is Bernie was on The View. And I just wanted to show this because this is going to be hostile territory. And especially Meghan McCain attacks Bernie. But let's watch how good Bernie does in the Lion's Den.
We started the show talking about someone you know well, Joe Biden, still leading the polls. Look, we know him as making gaffes over the years, but he's had a rough month, and most recently messing up that war story. Do you think the media and people are too hard on him, or are we in a race about truth and facts right now?
Well, I think the media has its job to do, and they will record what I say and what Joe says and what anybody else says. That's their job. All I can say is I've known Joe for many, many years in the Senate and worked with him when he was vice president. We're friends. Joe and I have our differences in terms of our vision for the future, and our records are very different. Joe voted for the war in Iraq. Joe voted for the Wall Street bailout. I did not. Joe voted for some very bad trade deals, which I didn't vote for. So, you know, the voters will reach their conclusion.
But is there a double standard? Would you criticize him for telling the same story?
Oh, for Trump is in another world altogether. I mean, Trump is a profound liar.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it's embarrassing to have to say this, you know, that what Trump says doesn't mean anything because he often just makes it up and it has nothing to do with reality. I don't think that is Joe Biden at all.
No.
Yeah. Senator, can I get a little wonky with you? So President Trump, in conspiratorial terms, he recently tweeted that the DNC has already decided to back Biden. He said, look what they did. The DNC is again working its magic in its quest to destroy crazy Bernie Sanders. I feel uncomfortable saying that to you. For the more traditional but not very bright, sleepy Joe Biden, I feel uncomfortable with that too. Here we go again, Bernie, but this time please show a little more anger and indignation when you get screwed. So he's basically saying that the DNC screwed you over last time for Hillary and is going to screw you over again. Do you think that's happening? And if it does, will you have a contested convention?
Well, Meg, let me respond in two sentences.
And I would never speak that.
I know you. I know.
We have our
when
differences, but...
President Trump refers to somebody else as crazy, talk about, you know, somebody in a glass house. So President Trump.
It's called a projection.
Yes.
So you feel like the DNC is in the tank for candidates?
Look, last time around, and this time, my campaign, you know, talked about it with Whoopi, we are taking on the establishment. That's no great secret. We're taking on Wall Street. We're taking on the insurance companies, the drug companies. We're taking on Trump. We're taking on the Republican machine. We're also taking on the Democratic establishment. The difference, though, between this time and last time is, as you will recall, before the first vote was cast in Iowa, Secretary Clinton had 500 superdelegates lined up behind her. In other words, like it's a 100-yard race, she's on the 30-yard line. We ended that. I would go further, but right now, on the first ballot at the Democratic National Convention, no superdelegate will be voting. That's a step forward. Second of all, I'm feeling pretty good about our campaign, and I very much appreciate President Trump's wholehearted concern about me. I know he is being sincere about this.
Can I just follow up really quick though? But Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard is saying she's been excluded from the DNC stage, and she actually resigned, as you know, as vice chair of the DNC last time because of your treatment. Number one, do you think that she was right? Again, I just don't know if getting rid of superdelegates is enough. And do you think it's your turn to stand up for her to be on the debate stage now?
Let me just say this. I would go further. I would ban superdelegates from voting on any ballot. We could not achieve that. We got them off the first ballot, which was a step forward. Tulsi is a good friend of mine. Where the DNC right now had a difficult problem. How do you deal with 20 candidates who are running? Do you have 20 people up on the stage together? Does that make a sensible debate? I think not. So they came up with their approach. I am not a great fan, I should tell you, Megan, as to how we do debates in general. My own feeling would be, rather than giving people 45 seconds to talk about what we do with the crisis of high cost of prescription drugs, we focus on healthcare, we focus on climate change, do it issue by issue, rather than trying to deal with 50 different issues in a short period of time.
I'd like to get into an issue very quickly with you, if you were running out of time. Yesterday, Walmart announced it was ending all handgun ammunition sales. It asked customers not to carry guns into stores. It got rid of handguns in Alaska, making it a complete exit from handguns for Walmart. While over the weekend, Texas loosened up its gun laws. Now, if you are elected president, first day in office, Senator, what do you do about it?
We announced to the country that we will not be intimidated by the NRA. That we will, in fact, look, what has gone on recently in Odessa, Texas, Dayton, Ohio, El Paso, so many other instances, the American people and the children of our country are horrified. And we have got to do everything that we can to end the gun violence. And here's the good news, Sonny. The good news is that, by and large, the American people want to pass strong gun safety legislation. And more people, by the way, agree with the position I've had for a long time, that we should ban the sale and distribution of assault weapons in this country, which I think is the right thing to do.
That's not the clip that I thought it was. It was supposed to be the clip. Meghan McCain presses him to name one Republican that he likes. Well, he says, I was friends with your father. I liked your father. And she says, that doesn't count. He's dead. I thought it was in that clip, but I'm not going to make you sit through another clip. Anyways, that was a positive piece from the article, from the interview. And I'm happy with it. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm not going to reshoot and try to find the right clip, but that's what happened. She started pressing him to name one Republican that he likes. And he went with her father, and she dismissed it. Well, that was what was going on in the news that I picked out to look at for you. Sorry I picked the wrong clip from The View, but I still am happy with the clip I picked. I don't know why I keep apologizing. If you want to stay informed with Bernie events and what's going on with the campaign, text Bernie to 67760. That will enroll you in the texting program, and volunteers like me that do the texting will send you out information on events and rallies and things that are in your area, and news of the revolution that is important. Or get the Bern app. That's another great way to stay informed. You can get that anywhere you get a phone app. Or just watch this show, and I'll tell you what's going on with the campaign. On the 9th, the campaign's going to be having a big rally in Denver, Colorado, that I am trying really hard to get off work for. I want to drive to that one. I really want to go to a Bernie rally. I've never been. I'm kind of ashamed to say that, but I've never gotten to go, and I want to go to one. And I'm thinking about trying to drive to this one. Even though it's 14 hours away, I kind of want to go to Colorado anyway. So I'm going to try to go to that. But that's what's going on with the campaign. The campaign is doing fantastic, really. We couldn't ask for better. And I just want to remind everybody that tonight at 6 p.m., and I'll share it on my Facebook page, I will be having a live discussion with Gerard Kenyette. Hey, I cannot say names, so awful with names. But at 6 p.m. tonight, and I'll share it to my Facebook page, and we'll be talking about voting and participating in democracy. And if you're not familiar with Gerard, he thinks that you shouldn't, and he has quite a large following, so I'm excited about that conversation. And for just a second before we wrap up, I thought we should discuss a little about strategy. And while you're out there spreading the truth and fighting lies and propaganda, remember, don't raise your voice, improve your argument. You know, being aggressive and, arguing with people doesn't open their mind up anyway. It actually closes it. You, even if you're getting through, let's say you making really good points, you just triggered their cognitive dissonance and their brain is defending itself. They're not even listening to you anymore. They're waiting for their turn to talk, to refute whatever you say. They're only listening enough to pick out the details to be able to tell you that you're wrong. You stopped any possibility of getting through to them by triggering their defenses. So don't do that. Sprinkle the truth, but be more judo like. Use the momentum of the conversation in your advantage. So when you realize you've hit a brick wall, back away. You see what I'm saying? You planted the seed. The seed will either grow or it won't. It'll grow or it'll die depending on whether it's watered. But you planted it. You're not going to drive it home by spending another 17 paragraphs arguing back and forth online. You see what I'm saying? Or even in real life, when you're in a discussion or debate with somebody and you realize you've hit that brick wall, know to back down, to stop now. I saw a really funny meme, but there's a lot of wisdom in it too. It was like, the meme was, I don't argue with stupid people anymore. It was two people talking, and one of them saying, I don't argue with stupid people anymore. I just tell them they're right. And then the other guy was like, that's dumb. He goes, you're right. Don't waste time. Don't waste time explaining it. Just agree. Move on. Just find common ground. I don't know if you caught it, but last night I aired the discussion. I had a discussion with Clinton Gordon, a friend of mine. He's a Trump supporter, far-right Trump supporter, believes the QAnon stuff, way into Trump. We had a whole discussion for an hour, a very civil discussion, where we talked about politics and current events and everything. We had a lot of common ground. I really believe I can convert him to a Bernie supporter one day. But I'm not going to do it by arguing with him, and I'm definitely not going to do it by telling him he's stupid, or that his beliefs are stupid, or that his support of Trump is stupid. By attacking him, I'm never going to get anywhere like that. We have a lot we agree on, but we have very far differences politically. But listen to that conversation. If you didn't catch it, it was last night's Conspiracy Theories and Chill. Listen to that conversation. We can come together. That conversation should give you hope. And that was the point of it. That's why I did it. That's why I wanted to do that episode. And to give people hope that even though me and him are so far apart, we're able to agree on so much and find common ground and have a civil discussion without being triggered. And it's possible. And just be more like that. Restructure your argument style, the way you go about it. Play with your strategy. Failure to plan is planning to fail. So figure out how you're going to approach different situations. Think about that kind of stuff. Be a little smarter about how we approach it is all I'm saying. It's just a thought, to use our energy in more intelligently while we're out there fighting. But just do all you can. All we have to do is all that we can. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys right here tomorrow for a brand new episode of the Daily Bern. Keep fighting out there. I'll see you tomorrow.